me get the script up. Okay, so it's down to me to start off the meeting. Welcome everybody to today's licensing subcommittee that is considering the application for a premises license for Royston at 1 Chandlers Road in Broadstairs. My name is James Clapson and I'm acting as the meeting facilitator, and I will conduct the election of chairman. So please can I have a nomination for chairman, please?
Alan Curry.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Scobie. And is that seconded?
I will second it.
That's perfect. Okay then. So in that case, Councillor Curry has been elected chairman of the licensing subcommittee, and I will pass you over to him. So thank you very much.
Thanks, James. Welcome everyone to today's meeting of the licensing subcommittee. Prior to this meeting, all participants have previously checked that they can be heard and seen and can see and hear other members. To double check this and to introduce everyone who is present at the remote meeting, I would kindly ask that you confirm your attendance and your role or job title when I say your name. Alison Brock.
Might help if I put my microphone on. Alison Brook, licensing officer.
Thanks, Alison. Councillor Scobie.
Councillor.
And Councillor Ara.
Yeah. Councillor. Thank you.
Thanks, Roshan. And Jennifer Phillips.
Okay. Are we still waiting on Jennifer, are we?
Yep, Jennifer.
Hello, I'm here.
Hi, Jennifer.
I was trying to get the mute up. Hello, Jennifer Phillips, the Principal Litigation Lawyer for Thanet District Council.
Thank you. We have Katie Brewer.
Hello, Katie Brewer, Democratic Services Officer.
Thanks, Katie. We've got James Clapson, and we've heard from Jane Bennett.
Jane Bennett from Licensing.
Thanks, Jane. And Michelle Gregg.
Hi, PC Michelle Gregg from Kent Police.
Thanks. I think we've got some members of the public here. We've got Miss Martin.
Hi, it's Mrs. Paula Martin, a member of the public. Thank you.
Thanks. And we have Mr. Smith. Just unmute yourself, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
Apologies, Andy Smith, applicant.
Thank you. And Mr. Dillon?
Yes, I'm with Mr. Smith.
Thank you. And I believe you also have a PC Greg?
Yeah. Hi, it's me again. I've just introduced myself. I'm licensing officer for Kent Police.
Thank you very much. Have I missed anyone present today? No, I think we're all here. Okay, if you have any technical difficulties during the meeting, then please contact Katie, the Democratic Services Officer, on call, who will attempt to assist you. They will put their phone number in the chat function on the above right of the screen. I would ask participants, when you are not speaking, to please mute your microphone. This minimises background noise and will help everyone in listening to proceedings. Microphones must only be on if the participant has been granted permission to speak. To gain my permission to speak, please very briefly indicate on the chat to the right side of the screen, and I will then make a note and go back to you once the person speaking has finished. Would everyone present please ensure that their mobile phones are turned to silent and that they are not used to make or receive phone calls while the meeting is in progress. Do not turn off your phones in case you need to be contacted in the event of technical difficulties. Please also refrain from checking emails or conducting other business, and ensure that you're in a quiet room, free from distractions for the duration of the meeting. Please note this meeting is being live streamed for members of the public, except for the private deliberation part of this meeting, where a separate private hangout meeting will take place for this element of item 4, and the public meeting will resume in its previous digital location 30 minutes later, unless there is reason to suggest an earlier or later time. No unauthorised recording of the confidential item of business is permitted to take place. Moving on to agenda item 2, apologies for absence. Are there any other apologies for absence? No. Okay, moving on to agenda item 3, declaration of interests. Are there any declarations of interest? Moving on to agenda item 4, application for a premises licence, the Royston. I call upon Mrs. Phillips, the Council's principal litigation solicitor, to explain to the parties the procedure that we will be taking during this hearing.
Hello, everyone. We are here to consider the application of Mr. Andrew Leslie Smith for a new premises licence in respect of Royston 1 Chandos Road, Broadstairs, in light of a representation received in accordance with sections 12 and 17 of the Licensing Act 2003. And we will hear the parties in the following order: the licensing officer, the applicant for the license, and the representatives. Each party has up to around 15 minutes to make a presentation, and this includes any witness that's called. You're not expected nor required to speak for the full duration of the 15 minutes. I'd like to everyone to know that the decisions made by the subcommittee are made in accordance with the Licensing Act 2003 and based on the information presented in this agenda, together with any verbal submissions made today. Decisions of the subcommittee are not politically based, and the subcommittee must act impartially and offer a fair and unbiased hearing to each application. And this subcommittee will give fair consideration to everything that is read and heard today. Following each presentation, the members of the subcommittee may ask questions of each party or their representatives and of any witnesses. There is no time limit for members' questions. There is no automatic right for the parties to question one another except with permission. And if questions are asked, there will be a time limit of around 5 minutes. At the end of the proceedings, each party will have 5 minutes to make a closing statement in the following order: the applicant for the license, the licensing officer, and the various representatives. And please note, to ensure that this virtual meeting runs smoothly, only one individual shall be allowed to speak at a time. Any person speaking must be permitted to finish what they are saying without interruption. And anyone speaking will be directed to do so by name at any time. And if any individual is requested to stop speaking, then they should do so immediately. The meeting will then adjourn for the subcommittee to consider its decision. And when we adjourn, the subcommittee members, the legal officer, myself, and the clerk shall leave the virtual meeting room. If you'd like to hear the decision of the subcommittee, then I advise everyone, I will advise everyone of the decision approximately 30 minutes from the time of the adjournment. You can either remain in the virtual meeting during this time, or you can use the link again to re-access the meeting. And if you do decide to wait in the virtual meeting room, then please turn off your cameras and microphones to ensure your privacy as the recording will continue.
Thank you, Jenny. I would like to stress the importance of following this hearing procedure, and that there will be an opportunity for all parties to make a final presentation after questioning. Therefore, I would advise all present to please follow the procedure and to respect those speaking by not interrupting or speaking over others. If people do interrupt or speak over others, I, as chairman, will ask them to refrain from doing so. If they continue to do so after my warning, then that individual could face being asked to leave the meeting. Could the licensing officer please present the report?
Morning, everyone. Well, as you know, this is a new application for 1 Chandos Road, Broadstairs. The applicant advertised the application as is required, and we've received 1 representation, which is why we're here. The representation is mainly in regard to noise, disturbance, and the opening hours. The Environmental Health Department made no comment on this particular application, but they did make comments on the planning application. I do now have a copy of the planning notice, which has a couple of conditions on it and has made changes to the hours that the applicant requested. The police have also agreed some conditions, and these are also attached at Annex 3. Basically, we need your opinion on the application. I can read the planning notes if you want those, because obviously they're not part of the agenda at present. Because planning have agreed some different times and have agreed a couple of conditions. So if you want me to read those out, Chairman, I can do.
Yes, could you read them out, please, Alison?
Yeah. They've agreed times from Monday to Wednesday, 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock. And then Thursday to Saturday and bank holidays, 8 o'clock till 12:30. You may note from that, and the applicant or Mr. Dillon will probably be able to explain that that does not mention Sundays at all. So I'm assuming from that the premises will have to be closed on a Sunday because it doesn't have planning permission to be open. I don't know, but Mr. Dillon or his applicant will obviously be able to confirm that. They've also requested a full noise and vibration survey, which will have to be approved by the planning department before the premises will open. And also door closures to be fitted on front and rear doors so that doors can't be propped open. And the rear courtyard shall at no time be used for smoking or for any other use of patrons of the drinking establishment. And those are on the planning notice. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Alison. Now moving on to the applicant's case. Would the applicant or agent please present their application?
If I ask Jerome to go first.
Yeah, whatever suits you, Andy.
Okay.
Yes, my name is Jerome Dillon, solicitor. I have prepared this application for Mr. Smith, and I would like to explain it as briefly as I can. The premises are quite small, and the application refers to the downstairs and the ground floor. The hours sought are set out in the application. I don't quite understand the planning suggestion that the premises shall not be used on 8 a.m. Monday to Wednesday and 8 a.m. Thursday to Saturday and bank holidays. We read that as not preventing the premises opening on a Sunday, but not changing the hours for which we've asked in the application. Now, we have been made aware of the police interview with Mr. Smith, where the matter was fully discussed, and PC Greg put forward proposals as conditions, which we were happy to agree. I would like to add another proposed condition at this stage for the sake of clarity. We are aware of the objections of the neighbour and the fact that she is concerned about people taking drink outside and taking it away. Firstly, we would like to volunteer a condition that no patron may be allowed to take their drink outside onto the pavement to consume it outside the premises if they leave the premises to smoke. But we've already agreed with the environmental health officer not to use the rear yard for any purpose, including letting customers out to smoke. And the other condition we would like to volunteer is that the comment has been made about off sales and people walking along the street drinking. We would like to volunteer a condition which is quite routine, that any off sale must be in a sealed vessel. And I'm contemplating bottles, but it could, of course, be a takeaway pint. So we would like to add those conditions to address the concerns that have been raised by the neighbour. Apart from that, the premises are small. There is to be a noise assessment, as you've heard. The hours requested are in line. I know the neighbour has complained about 7 o'clock. Well, that's now been reduced to 8 o'clock by the planning authority. And the reason for that is that quite often people want to open early in order to serve coffees and teas, or to have meetings before the first hour for the sale of alcohol at 10 o'clock, but no alcohol could be served until 10 o'clock. So it's a facility, because once you have a license, you are bound by the opening and closing hours. You can't just open willy-nilly any time. As far as the sale of alcohol is concerned, I note the objector said that other premises tend to open at 12. That may be the case, but the standard licensing hours in the district that seem to be common to most premises are alcohol starting at 10 a.m. It's unusual for it to start before, and finishing at 11 and later weekends. So the application, therefore, is for that. We understand that the police officer present may be able to confirm that a statement by the objector that a PC Reid has made some objection to this application. Apparently, PC Greg can confirm that is incorrect, but I'll leave that to her when she's called upon to speak. I don't think there's anything else that we can usefully say. Our client will be investing quite considerable sums in this venture. I have explained to him the remedies of review that are available to not only neighbours but anyone generally, if the premises are ill conducted and afford to be a nuisance to the neighbours, a magnet for crime, and of course the problems with children. But the premises will operate the Challenge 25 policy, so that children will not be admitted, or they'd be admitted to the premises in the company of an adult, but they will not be served alcohol, and no one will be served alcohol if they appear to be under 25, unless they produce photographic ID, which is normally a passport or a driving licence for any valid photograph ID. There will also be the usual arrangements for a refusal book and the other conditions which have been set out by the police, which we are happy to comply. So I think that concludes what I would like to say, and then perhaps Mr. Smith would add his own gloss.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Andy Smith there, applicant. I just, I've put everything. If anybody's read the planning application, you'll see quite a lot about myself and why I'm doing this. I'm Broadstairs born and bred. I've got quite a large social network in Broadstairs, and I'm quite a fan of the micro pub. If you're not familiar with a micro pub, they are becoming really popular. A lot of them tend to be retail premises that are converted into a licensed premises, so they're not tied to a brewery, so it's not going to be your typical kind of lager drinkers pub. And in fact, I'm not really planning on selling lager, so it'll be gravity dispense, so it'll be cask ale, using ale from local brewers. I'm not planning on any music. In fact, it will be quite a strict term of me operating the pub that it's not going to be any music. It's more focused around a very much community orientated small place with a capacity upstairs of around about, I say upstairs, this is the ground floor, of approximately 25 people. There's not actually even going to be a bar in there, so it's just going to be kind of like your front room with tables around the edge of the room. The beer will be served to the table, so there's not going to be a bar service, so you won't have people sitting at the bar all day long drinking their pints of lager. The whole intention really is to be a place that you can pop in, have a chat, meet some friends. There is the basement downstairs, which also gives me the opportunity to open up somewhere for maybe private events, so small key affairs. Again, there's about 25 to 30 people capacity downstairs. And I am kind of retaining the right to play music, but it won't be your kind of disco, the small nightclub kind of scenario. It's literally going to be background music, and maybe on Folk Week and Broadstairs Blues Bash, I might have maybe an acoustic set down there with a local artist. So the last thing I want to be doing is upsetting any neighbours, and the whole idea is to be putting a community space in that lovely part of Broadstairs, which is really quite up and coming. It's on Instagram. They're calling it the Broadstairs Village. There's lots of small restaurants. There's the table next door. I know they sell alcohol. I need to get down and have a chat with them. But it's kind of an up and coming area, and I just think this a little pub without the rowdiness really is going to enhance that area. And as I say, I don't want any aggro down there at all. If anything, I want to make it an assistance to the local residents, because I will be operating a bit later at night. I will have CCTV. I will be signing up to the Thanet Safe scheme, so I have connection with all the other establishments using that service. So we'll have, I think, walkie-talkies. I've already investigated that, and I've already spoken to PC Greg about that as well. So I just really want to put everyone's mind at rest that this is not going to be a rowdy pub that's going to be opening really late at night. Addressing the hours of opening, I'm retaining the right to open up to that late, but it's not my plan to be open until 11:30 every single night. And a lot of micro pubs, what you find is that their general closing time will be 9:30, 10 o'clock, but it's just dependent on how busy it is. So if it's really quiet, then chances are I probably will close 9:30, 10 o'clock. But I do need the opportunity to be able to open to those late hours, but I will be strictly making sure that the patrons are respecting the residents, they're leaving quietly, they arrange for taxis to collect them in York Street and not outside the front door. I have also agreed with regards to smoking, because there is no outside space for people to go and have a cigarette. I'm quite an avid vapor. I was one of the early adopters, so I will be encouraging people to vape not blowing big clouds like you see a lot of the people doing now. So some discreet vaping I will allow on the premises, and I've also agreed with PC Greg that I won't allow any more than 4 people outside the premises to smoke, and strictly not to be smoking outside the neighbours' properties. It will be more towards York Street. But in the main, the rule is going to be please respect our neighbours, and I'll be putting signs up to reflect that. I think that kind of covers everything. The reason I'm doing this, I had a 20-year career in corporate sales. I get on with a big, wide demographic of people, and it's kind of what I'm good at doing. So I have got some savings. I'm putting all my savings into this venture. So the last thing I want to be doing is doing it lightly and then risking being shut down because I'm in breach of licensing and regulations. I do appreciate it's quite sensitive being neighbouring to residential premises. So that's kind of where I stand with it. And I'm just really hoping that you can all see that there is a promise with this, and it would be a good thing for the community. Thank you.
I'd just like, as the lawyer, to clarify one point. When Mr. Smith speaks of music, he's of course speaking of music which is allowed under the Live Music Act between the hours of 8 in the morning and 2300 hours. We are not applying for live or recorded music, so any music will be either background or very limited. And he's talked about the occasions when there may be music, such as Folk Week and Broadstairs Blues. I hope that clarifies that. I think that is our application.
Apologies, just to add one thing with regards to soundproofing. I've already sought a consultant that is recognised by the ANC, which is the Association of Noise Consultants, and that's on the advice of Environmental Health. So that will be done, and the premises will be soundproof before it's opened. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Thank you, Mr. Dillon. Does the licensing team have any questions for the applicant?
No, Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Do the police have any questions for the applicant?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. Does the member of the public have any questions for the applicant?
Hi, I'm Paula. Hi, Andy. Hi, everyone. I'm a bit confused over the hours that you're now proposing. Shall I speak now, or is that going to be clarified at some point?
I think we can go back to Mr. Smith just to clarify the hours.
Yeah, so I'm not quite sure what happened about the Sunday. So it's 8 until 11. However, no, actually, we've agreed 10. Is it 10?
So the alcohol hours are 10 until 11.
Alcohol, 10 o'clock. One thing I haven't mentioned is that my background, for the last 3 years, my background has been coffee. So I'll also be running it as a coffee shop come Pascal micro pub. So the reason I wanted earlier opening hours is not really to encourage early hours drinking. The downstairs space, as you've probably seen on the news recently, a lot of pubs are actually offering out their space, renting out tables for people that are working from home to come in and check emails and get away from the home for an hour or two. So that's part of the kind of later plan with the property and how I would use it. So it's more of a community space. It's not all about people getting drunk. It's about providing a community space which happens to be licensed. If people want to enjoy a pint of real ale, they can enjoy a pint of real ale. So the licensed hours will be from 10 o'clock, but opening from 8 o'clock in the morning to serve coffee. Chances are I'll be looking at actually opening the door to the public at 9 o'clock.
Thank you. Have you any more questions, Mrs. Martin?
Hi. Am I allowed to put forward some points myself now?
I think what we'll do is just ask the questions at the moment.
Right. Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to find out really how you're going to monitor people outside if you're only allowing 3 or 4 at a time, and the rubbish collection and deliveries, because it's so narrow. I can't see how you could get a lorry down there to deliver, and where the rubbish is going to go, because there is no means of rubbish collection in Chandos Road. We have to use Chandos Square, and you can't use trades. You can't put trade in there. So I wondered where your rubbish is going. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so. Sorry, we've got deliveries, rubbish, and monitoring. Yeah. Okay. Well, if I address the monitoring of smokers, as you'd be aware, it's obviously plate glass windows. It's one room upstairs, and there'll always be somebody. A member of staff working upstairs, so we've got a clear view of outside. There'll be a strict policy that they won't be outside your premises, outside your house, and I'll encourage people to walk up the other. CCTV. Yeah. Also, I'll be having CCTV trained on the outside, so there will be a screen. I've agreed a good layout of the CCTV with PC Greg. So from the point where I will or an employee will be kind of serving and pouring drinks, there'll also be a screen above the doorway where they can very easily see probably 7 different CCTV points, and one of which will be the front of the property, so which will be lit. I'll be making sure I get good quality cameras that can see outside. There will be lighting as well, which has been requested of me, so that I'll have a clear view both physically and on CCT of people smoking outside. And as I say, there will be a strict rule of no more than 4 people.
Are you happy with that, Mrs. Martin, or would you like to ask any more questions?
The rubbish. Yeah. I wanted to know the clearance of rubbish.
Yeah, so I won't be selling any food apart from maybe a few bar snacks. So there'll be no food waste. The beer is all served from casks, so there's no waste generated from that. I will be serving bag-in-box cider, so that's going to generate a little bit of waste. So I also have a property close by. I have a double garage myself, so what I'm planning on doing actually is removing the empties myself, the kegs, and storing them at my own property. But as far as the general waste, I won't be generating any more than your average household. So I'll be arranging a trade collection once a week or once every 2 weeks. The waste will be stored in the backyard, which obviously is not accessible to the general public. And I will make sure that the waste notice put out on time, but not too early that it may get interfered with. So yeah, I think that would be quite a straightforward thing to do.
Thank you.
To your premises.
Yeah. Obviously, it is tight for space down Chandos Road as far as deliveries are concerned. I'm planning on a once per week delivery. As with many pubs, there is a certain breach of parking regulations, but I would be encouraging them. They have trolleys to park in the wider York Street and wheel the barrels outside the property, and then I can take them in.
Okay.
Apart from that, I'll be doing all my own deliveries if I need to do bookers runs, things like that. And as I live close as well, I am planning on actually walking to work and having some kind of trolley system which enables me to actually visit the premises without a vehicle.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Smith. Any other questions, Mrs. Martin?
Probably something that, thank you. So probably something that I'm sure you've looked into with your survey, but we do have major sewage problems down this whole row of houses. I'm 3 doors down from you, and we have major problems because the sewage down here, the pipes are so old. We have to have Southern Water quite often to clear it. As you know, the pavements are there is no pavement really outside, and it does cause in the yards. You know, the one couple of doors along from you, the sewage there backs up all the time. It's pretty unpleasant. Yeah. So I wondered if you've actually done a survey on that. Sorry.
Nice step in here. I think this is a different, a separate issue to the one we're looking at the moment. So I don't think it's really fair to ask Mr. Smith or Mr. Dillon about that particular issue. So shall we move on now to members of the committee? Have they any questions for the applicant? Councillor Scobie or Councillor Ara?
Yes, you said you're going to allow smoking outside. Will there be an ashtray to put any cigarette ends in? And will you guarantee to clear up every day any rubbish or at the front of your property?
In short, yes and yes. I hate smokers. My partner smokes. I would encourage everybody to not smoke and to take up electronic cigarettes. I will be installing a wall-mounted ashtray outside the premises. And yes, most definitely, I'll be sweeping up and making sure I keep the whole property and the outside of the property in tip-top shape.
Okay, any other questions from the committee? No, I don't see anything. Okay, can we ask the police officer, would the police please present their case?
Good morning. I met with Mr. Smith a few weeks back now. I went and had a look at the property. Mrs. Martin is correct. It is a narrow road, but with regards to Roystons, I can see it actually working. I had a look downstairs. It's quite a small property. So like he said, maybe 25, 30 people max in there. And what he has planned for it is actually quite a quirky little micropub. There were some conditions, though, that we spoke about, and Mr. Smith was quite happy to agree to everything that I asked of him. The ones that are set out in the licence proposed are the CCTV. It will be upstairs, downstairs, exit and entry. Also, that will assist the police in the future if Mr. Smith has got a camera out the front for any ASB in the area. We can always call upon him to review that footage. It's always nice to have some cameras around in the residential areas for us to have a look at. He agreed with that. The crime prevention, he's agreed with. Another condition, the drugs policy, he's agreed to that, and an incident and register whereby if anyone does come in there, cause any problems, he has to write down details and then inform the police. He's agreed with the Challenge 25. So yes, I'm more than happy for this to go ahead. Yeah, so that's all from me really.
Thank you very much. Do members of the committee have any questions for the police?
Hi, I only just heard you. Was it to the police, did you say?
I'll just come back to you. If you would like to ask any
I
questions.
didn't hear what you said. Sorry, I didn't know if it was to me.
Yeah, I think I've just gone a bit too far down there. Yeah, Mrs. Martin, would you
All
like?
right, okay, sorry. It was really just to ask the police, because Darren Reid and I did work very closely with the crime prevention. We had some major problems in this area with antisocial behaviour, with drug use, etc., over at Dundonald Road, which was a closure in the end, which I worked quite closely with him. I'm not a vigilante, I just like to say that. I'm a grandmother and I've got grandchildren, and I'm quite keen. I've lived here for 10 years, to keep it quiet. And we went through some horrendous times here, and the neighbours all got together, and we've managed to finally quieten it down, and that's the reason why. And I want to be, it was said that PC Darren Reid hasn't actually logged anything. He didn't, I don't think, log anything official, but he did object to me. He said this is, it's going to start all up again, and that's our fear. And I understand with the CCTV, but it's actually having the monitoring down here that people will start coming back down here. We've had problems at the table. The licence owner there was beaten up the other night. It's only open 3 days a week there. He was hospitalised. I think he's got CCTV, but it wasn't captured on there. We have got problems in this area already, and that's what I wanted to make sure that, you are mindful of, which I'm sure you are, and that it will continue to be monitored down here, because it is a residential road. And we are working families. I work in Thanet. I go to bed early. I try to sleep with my bedroom window open, and I can't sometimes because of some of the hassles we've had, but it's just quietened down. And I just wanted assurances that this would continue. And, I'm all for keeping my eye out, but it's always in retrospect, and it's the same people always objecting. And I don't wish to be come across as someone that's anti everything. I too like to go out, but I just think it's a residential road and it does need continually monitoring, because it's spreading around this area a bit. When that guy was beaten up, it was anyway. It's just to ensure that something is going to be done and monitored. Thank you.
Thank you. Would PC Greg like to respond?
Yes. Thank you, Mrs. Martin, for that. I would just like to add, with regards to Dundonald, I actually had quite a lot to do with that job too, and I know exactly what you're talking about. The good news is that problem has gone, and you did have serious issues. I'm not going to lie, you did, but the problem's been dealt with. With regards to the area in Broadstairs, I can't recall many times that we get called around to that area for ASB, apart from the issues that you've already brought up. And they were serious, they were. But I do understand your concerns, but I don't think having a small micropub where Mr. Smith wants it is going to cause you any more grief than any other pub in the nearby area. York Street's just around the corner. You've got the Broadstairs. People walk from town through Shandos. I just don't feel that the micropub is going to cause the police any more ASB than any other pub in Broadstairs. So that's my opinion. But obviously come back with anything else. But I do understand your concerns with regards to what you've had to put up with over the last couple of years. And yes, if that property was still ahead, I might feel differently. But unfortunately, they've gone, and now it's back to normal for you, hopefully. I just feel that this micropub won't cause you any more issues as regards to ASB or drugs. Does that help?
It's time will tell. I'm sure it'll be fine. Thank you.
Okay, but if you do have any concerns, Mrs. Martin, then you give us a call, and I'm more than happy to go and have a look myself. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, PC Greg.
May I speak?
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I just want to say, Paula, I'm more than happy to arrange and provide a free meeting space if you want me to be involved in your neighbourhood watch. I mean, I was born and bred in Broadstairs. I know so many people. I know of quite a few unsavoury characters, not that I know them personally, but so I think I could probably offer quite a lot in terms of neighbourhood support and providing a facility there for the residents to get together and work closer together, and particularly with PC Greg as well. So if anything, I think that it could be an opportunity to actually enhance the whole community spirit down there and the neighbourhood security, particularly with the CCTV and obviously me having contact with the Thanet Watch Scheme as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Smith. Have you or Mr. Dillon any other questions for PC Greg?
Yes, I just have one question. I just have one question. In her objection, the neighbour said that PC did, but as I understand it, he may have had views, but he hasn't formed part of your objection, well, not your objection, but your observations and your request for conditions. Have I understood that correctly?
Sorry, is that to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry. Yes, I have spoke to PC Darren Reid with regards to the objection, and he has stated that at no point did he say that he didn't agree with the pub or the closing times. So, yeah, I have spoken to him. Okay.
I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you,
Yeah.
Chair.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I'd like to ask members of the committee if they have any questions for the police. No, thank you. This is the point of the meeting at which the members of the public would get to make representations. Mrs. Martin, please can you make your representation?
Hi, yes, thank you. I live, as I said earlier, 3 doors down from the proposal, the micropub, and I'd like to say, I've lived in the area for over 10 years. I've lived in Thanet most of my life, and my husband was born in Broadstairs. We know the town very well. We're very happy here, and as stated out, the main objection was the hours, which I was unaware that they'd changed. So certain things have changed during the course of this meeting, but I still need that clarified, what the actual hours are. I'm not part of any Thanet Watch, or I'm just a local resident that's, along with other residents, have been concerned about the disturbances that we've had in the area that has been mentioned by PC Greg earlier. It has been pretty horrific around here, and it's just got back to normality. And then we had the table opening up, which is a nice small little coffee shop come sandwich shop. But our concerns are mainly that it's a residential road. Now, I appreciate that, that is the style of a micropub to open up in a retail business, but as has been mentioned, many of the opening hours for micropubs in the area, and I've looked around and researched all of the micropubs, most of them throughout Thanet, and none of them open to sell alcohol. Well, none of them open till 12, very few. The one at 39 Steps with COVID at the moment, I don't know what's going on there. That one's shut down at the moment, but that didn't open till 12. And a lot of them don't open 7 days a week. It's the 7 days a week, I think, and the hours that are opening. And as much as people can say it might be quiet, and I fully support anyone starting a business. Andy, I don't want you thinking I'm not going to be supportive of your business. And it's something that I'm strongly for in the area, that we don't have closed shops and things. So I'm supportive of a business. It's just to sit back and do nothing, it would disturb the area. And I'm really concerned about the traffic down here, because I cannot see how you're going to stop people not being dropped off here. And I appreciate, let's just wait and see. But then the road is so narrow. It's so narrow. We've got damage all through our cellar, where we have lorries that come around to deliver for other premises. If someone's got a delivery, if they drove over our immediate bit at the front, it damages all our cellar, and our we've had to have our meters changed. I did bring up about the sewage then, which is a concern, and I think it's something, if you haven't, as a tip, have that looked into, because it's a nightmare down here, because we cannot have the sewage pipes changed. But anyway, for the licensing hours, that is the main objection. For the crime, the disorder, that we want to keep on top of. We're keen to work with you, and I am anyway. Keen to work with you, and if we can keep on top of it, I'm sure it will be fine. A bit concerned about the cigarette ashtray. I mean, I hold my hand up. I'm a smoker that's trying to stop. I have vape and I do smoke. But an ashtray on a wall, I don't know if it's allowed down here because it's a conservation area. I don't know if that will. I don't know. I don't know if they work or not. They're not something that I've seen work in some places. But I've got a long list of things here. But of course, during the start and the opening, the parameters of the opening was changed. So it's kind of thrown it all out the window, really, because I wanted just to mainly object, which I know a lot of my neighbours do. You know, we've got small children. You know, the other day I was walking down the road. I've had to put a complaint in. I don't like doing this. It's not my nature. But I've sat back too long, and I keep saying to my neighbours, it's all very well you all complaining before it happens, but you need to voice something now. It's too late afterwards, and work with these people, you know. But I've had to cross over the road with my grandchild because the table started putting out tables and chairs that were right across the highway. I had to ring up and say, is this allowed? No, it isn't. So they were removed. I shouldn't have to anywhere put my granddaughter of 20 months in danger. And that's what's been happening. And, it's really just to I can see that. I would like the hours clarified for the sale of alcohol as well, because I'm a bit confused over the hours, but I'm sure that'll come to light afterwards. But I do wish you well with your venture, and I hope we become neighbours, nice friendly neighbours, and I would pop in for a coffee, not at 7 a.m. And normal, without COVID, I would be off at work by then, but I'm working from home, so everything's a lot more intense at the moment. So I do wish you well with your venture, but I just hope we can come to some agreement with the hours, because it's, it is a quiet neighbourhood, and long may it remain so. A lot of people move here to Broadstairs because they like what's here. And then you find people, I know you haven't moved here, you've lived here, but a lot of people are moving in and they're changing things, and they want to have the things from where they've come from brought here, but they forget why they've moved here in the first place. And, that's what I love about Broadstairs, is it remains a seaside town, hopefully.
Okay,
and
thank you.
Thank you.
Your time up there. Does the applicant have any questions?
Yes, please.
I'll go first. Just to answer your query on the hours, the opening time is 8 until 11:30. No alcohol sold before 10 a.m. And so that's that. To ask you a question, you've surveyed other premises, but do you understand that if you are given a license, you cannot open earlier than the hours on the license, and you cannot open later? And therefore, people applying for licenses give the hours that they might want to use, not the hours that they may actually use. So although we ask for the hours, we may not necessarily open for all of them. Do you understand that that's the reason why we've asked for those hours? Turn me off now.
Okay. Okay, thank you there, Mr. Dillon. Can we move on to have the police any questions?
No questions from me.
Thank you, PCP. Do members of the committee have any questions? No. Councillor Scobie.
Yes, sorry. So we've got Monday to Wednesday, 8 till 11 o'clock with alcohol from 10 to 23.
Yeah.
Thursday to Saturday, 8 and 12:30 with alcohol from 10 until 12:30. But I'm not sure about Sunday at all.
Could you just clarify the Sunday opening hours, just for clarification?
If I could add in, I don't want to be opening late on a Sunday. I don't think that would be fair to the neighbours either. So if we can apply the Monday to Wednesday hours to Sunday, I'd be happy with that.
Thank you. Now, we'd like to sum up. I would like now to ask each party to sum up and make final representations. Would the police like to sum up?
No, I think I've said everything I've had to say. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Would the member of the public like to sum up, Mrs. Martin?
Thank you. Now, only to summarise that the hours and days of opening hopefully have been reduced, and the problems of delivery and rubbish to be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Martin. Would the applicant agent like to sum up?
Yes, in the main, everything's been said. I would just like to clarify the reason that we've asked for the hours is because they're permissive. And if we asked for 12 o'clock and we wanted to open at 10, we couldn't. But we would not probably be operating all of those hours, but they are what I would regard as standard hours. In fact, they're very similar to the old hours under the old Licensing Act. We have addressed the issue of trade waste and removal and deliveries. No sensible beer delivery lorry is going to try and park in Chandos Road because it's too narrow. What will happen is they'll park in York Street at a suitable point and wheelbarrow the deliveries there. So that should solve that problem. And we're very happy to work with the neighbour, and we will, if she would require it, give her a telephone number for her to contact the bar if there was any disturbance which is causing her a nuisance. So that is our application, and I don't think there's anything I can usefully add. Thank you.
If I can add, Paula, if you'd like me to share my mobile phone number with you, if you wanted to discuss it any further with me, I'm more than happy to do that too.
Thank you. Maybe at a later date when we know what's happening, but I'll go back to the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. The members of the subcommittee will now leave this meeting along with the council's legal representative to deliberate this matter in private. We shall resume here to deliver a verdict in 30 minutes. While we leave the meeting, I will ask the Democratic Services Officer to explain the retiring process. Over to you, James.
Okay, thank you, Chair. Okay, so the committee members, myself and Jennifer, we're going to go to a private room to discuss the committee's thoughts, and we'll meet back here using this link. Should we say at 11:15? Does that sound okay for everybody? So 11:15, click on the meeting link that you are in this meeting here. We'll all meet up again, and we'll hear the verdict of the committee. So I'll see you then at 11:15.
Okay.
You can feel free to stay in the meeting if you want, or you can leave the meeting and come back to it. As Jennifer said in her speech at the beginning there, be mindful if you want to turn your camera off or microphone onto mute if you wish. But you can equally leave it and come back. That would work just as well. So we'll see you again at 11:15.
Is everyone here, James?
I think we're just waiting for Councillor Ara to join us.
Oh, okay.
I believe everyone else is here, I think.
Okay.
I'll just give her a quick phone call, make sure she doesn't have any problems getting back in.
Okay. I think everybody's here now, James. You're on mute at the moment, James.
Is Councillor Ara here? Is she? I don't think she's
I can see Councillor Ara.
I've just sent her the oh yeah, excellent, super.
Can you hear us, Councillor Ara? She's frozen at the moment.
Yes, isn't she? He's having an internet connection issue or something like that, perhaps.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Could we go ahead with the verdict, James, if Councillor Ara is unable to join?
I think we can. I mean, she's agreed to the hopefully be working now.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
Can you hear us, Councillor Ara?
Okay. I think we if Jennifer agrees as well, I think perhaps we could proceed. and we'll, as councillor, I was aware of the decision already. What's your thoughts, Jennifer?
Yes, we can proceed.
Okay.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. I would now like to invite Ms. Phillips, the Principal Litigation Solicitor, to read a summary of the subcommittee's determination.
This is a summary of the licensing subcommittee determination. In the application of Mr. Andrew Leslie Smith for a new premises license in respect of Royston 1, Chandos Road, Broadstairs, Kent, and upon the consideration of representations made to the licensing subcommittee on the 22nd of October 2020 by the licensing authority, the applicant, Mr. Smith, the applicant solicitor, Mr. Dillon, the police, and a member of the public, Mrs. Martin, it is the decision of the subcommittee that the license be granted for the operation of the premises as a micropub.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone involved. And that concludes the business for this meeting of the licensing subcommittee. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.